Kubrick's Eyes Wide Shut is a tale of infidelity, corruption, desire, and above all, hypocrisy. The film centres around Bill, who is externally a well-rounded middle-class doctor and family man, yet as the film plays out, it becomes clear that this societal need to adhere to conventional morality is merely superficial. As Bill attempts to understand high society, the facade is eventually brought to light, one with an unsatisfying conclusion. We are instantly brought straight into the midst of it all. In this scene, Bill and his wife attend Ziegler's party, where they aren't familiar with any of the wealthy guests and are seemingly in awe of the sophistication that surrounds them. The couple are then separated and the first moral test begins. Alice is flirted with by an older aristocratic man, whilst Bill is teased by two younger, provocative women. Alice ends up realising that she has overstepped the mark and leaves once the man asks her to go upstairs with him. Bill, however, leaves the two women only because he's interrupted by Ziegler to save a prostitute from overdosing. This appears to be the first example of the underlying temptation that Bill faces, one that he doesn't act on due to his need to outwardly conform. In a later conversation regarding the party, the couple discuss the objects of their desire. The conversation soon turns turbulent. Alice becomes annoyed at Bill's reason for not committing adultery.
And because we're married.
Not because he didn't want to. This statement reveals that Bill acts under the notion of moral objectivism. He believes in the idea of moral facts. This is reinforced by his explanation behind flirting with the girls at the party. He says he did so because he's a man, stating that
women, they basically just don't think like that.
Alice then divulges her story regarding her desire for the naval officer. Bill listens intently, not interrupting once, for he is dumbstruck at the idea of his black and white world being torn apart. The idea of moral facts or universal truths Bill thought he knew are shattered. Women can in fact think like men, not just any woman, but his wife. This conversation acts as the inciting instant for Bill's shift in mindset. He seems overcome by jealousy and confusion, which is only heightened by more events the same night. On account of his actions, it appears that Bill no longer adheres to his previous standard of conventional morality. The philosopher Glaucon suggests that people are predisposed to acting selfishly and narcissistically, this being referred to as psychological egoism. Therefore, conventional morality only occurs based on the structure of consequences being externally laid down. This seems to take shape for Bill, who as a result of his jealousy begins losing sight of who was previously important to him, and almost instantly begins acting in his own self-interest, picking up a prostitute whom he doesn't have sex with only because he is once again interrupted. Glaucon uses the Ring of Gyges story to illustrate the idea of psychological egoism. However, the hero of that story is rewarded for his immoral pursuit of kingship, whereas Bill isn't rewarded for his unjust actions in his pursuit of pleasure. Instead, Bill is warned against his courses of action in various guises throughout the film. Firstly through the news of the prostitute he almost slept with having HIV, and most notably being stalked after infiltrating the clandestine sex cult. These instances essentially reveal Bill's psychological egoism to him, and remind him that his status and self-confidence can't always protect him. But why was Bill so quick to act in his own self-interest? The philosophical concept of archrasia could be of some explanation, specifically Aristotle's interpretation. Aristotle splits archrasia into two types, weakness and impetuosity. The supplement for Aristotle's Ethics states that the impetuous person does not go through a process of deliberation and does not make a reasoned choice. He simply acts under the influence of a passion. And it's clear that Bill acts out of haste, due to his anger at his wife. Despite this, Aristotle doesn't think that passion overwhelms reason as an explanation for this weakness of will. Rather, he thinks that reason is pushed aside. In Bill's case, this becomes apparent, as once the disquieting consequences of his actions dawn on him, he goes back to his wife and family. This fits with Aristotle's interpretation that at the time of the action, the impetuous person experiences no internal conflict, but once his act has been completed, he regrets what he has done. Bill's glimpse into the world of the elite shows us the irony of his pursuit. Perhaps Bill thought he would be rewarded, as the man in the Ring of Gyges story is, but he is in fact faced with corruption, some of which is closer than he thinks. This forces us to examine the idea of the American elite as a facade, as at the top of society, morality has collapsed. What awaits Bill is moral nihilism, in the form of hedonism, debauchery and murder. The external lives of the elite are sophisticated and lavish, but also morally conventional. The immoral behaviour we see initially is sort of expected, although wrong, and still somewhat conventional in high society. Yet what we are faced with on a clandestine level is far worse. So what does this discovery mean for Bill, and for us? Well, in the face of normal society, psychological egoism is rejected. If we try to understand or pursue these groups out of our own interest as Bill did, we will be punished. The concept of moral objectivism is also rejected. There are no intrinsic facts about the world, only those we know externally and are expected to adhere to. As a result of the power imbalance we face, we are in fact doomed to conform to conventional morality.